Interesting to see both sides skippered by hookers today. Dave Ward will get to do that job in a moment. The days before professionalism, Quins used to play loads of games here at Twickenham. A bit more wood around in those days, the old towering green wooden stands. Much more space age in 2017, but once again they've crossed the busy A316 to set us up for another big game. And amidst the noise and the flames and the fireworks and the razzmatazz, a big game for both. Over 70,000 inside, the biggest crowd for a club game so far this season. And with neither club where they expect to be in the table, if they want to retain top six ambitions, it's time really to get motoring, because we're heading into the second half of the season.
Yeah, they're playing catch-up from here on in. They've lost games they'd rather have won, and they need an injection of confidence and consistency, both sides. Still time to climb up the table, but you feel they have to start winning today.
JP Doyle not had far to come. He lives down the road in Twickenham, probably got the bus. Actually, probably didn't, knowing JP. But anyway, he's here amidst the smoke and in charge of affairs. Show that has rapidly become one of the best the capital can offer at this time of the year. So many families here, so many kids, so many, I guess, watching this great sport of ours for the first time. So let's hope that both sides can put on the show we all hope for. We're all set for the 10th edition of the big game. And on a gentle, mildish December afternoon, Northampton won the toss, and they will fire the first bullets. Here's Francis. Taken, or ought to have been taken, just inside his 22 by Tim Visser, but he was being hunted down by Tuala. And the first mistake, and the first attacking Saint scrum.
Yeah, you'd expect a little bit of ownership from your winger there. The ball, I mean, it's a lovely kicker from Piers Francis. Ben Glynn, he leaves it. Tim Visser just caught in two arms. But you've got to say, all because of the pressure of RC Tuala, a really good start for Northampton Saints.
Interesting, Hugo, the amount of time given, the amount of thought given to kickoffs like that, to restarts. That's not gone there by chance.
Oh, it's another set piece, it really is. It's an opportunity to get the ball back. We talk about conserving energy. Well, in one phase, one decent kick, one decent chase, they've got an attacking scrum in Harlequins 22.
Well, statistically, Northampton had the best scrum in the Aviva Premiership heading into last weekend. Then they lost 3 against the Head, and it's not so sharp.
Yeah, came up against Exeter, didn't they? But Luther Burrell straightening off the action there. Knocks it on, turns the ball over to Harlequins.
A couple of knock-ons from either side early on.
Use it, please.
Danny Kerr back at 9 today. John O'Kitto on the bench. Joe Marler, 100th Premiership start for him a few weeks ago. Across the road against Sarries. Kerr, Visser trying to get under this one, and he did, but held on to by Jamal Ford-Robinson, and then Rob Shaw doing some great mauling work on the ground and drawing the ball back for his club.
Yes, fantastic turnover there from Chris Robshaw. He just waited long enough. Often you see players get penalised for playing the nines, but on that occasion JP Doyle gives him the benefit of the doubt. Look at this, makes the tackle, it's come through the middle, but nines had plenty of time to get that pass away. And unfortunately for Nick Groom, just not quick enough.
Played his 250th game for Harlequins before Christmas, dozen years after his debut.
Bind! Set! Put your hands down.
Scrum.
Don't do that.
Never stable on my side, never stable.
It's the voice of the assistant referee, Paul Dix, who's on the touchline side. Hugo, what are you looking at?
Spoke to Luther before the game how he was going to pay Marcus Smith a lot of attention. It was a really good carry but a fantastic tackle. That's Luther Burrell, 16 stone, first tackle, and it's a turnover. Really good start for the young man.
Teenager, just had his A-level results when we saw him at the start of the season in September. He's been on a fairly steep educational curve ever since, but how well he's done.
That's it. Well, every challenge that's been put to him, he's really thrived. You know, you mentioned it last week, Ulster, a couple of weeks ago, Ulster. It doesn't matter the occasion or how many people in the stadium, he absolutely loves it. There's your general there, who'll be looking to get this Harlequins backline firing.
Still only 18, but he's probably feels like 100 years the wiser for half a season in the Premiership. It's a solid Quinn scrum. They've got a turn on. JP Doyle keen to see that ball come out. Eventually it does. It wasn't the easiest for Danny Kerr to gather, and he had Groom all over him when he did pick it up. This is Chisholm, looking forward to a decent trot over the second half of the season. He's barely played so far, James Chisholm.
Courtney, stop, let him go. Hey, Courtney.
The Ben is Ben Glynn. You'll know who Courtney is.
Courtney's furious because he's not had much sleep in the last couple of days.
If the scrum goes up on the right, doesn't go forward, okay, you got to use
His wife Jessica giving birth to twins this week.
Yeah, thought Northampton might have been penalised at the scrum time. They're under a bit of pressure. Quins managed to get the ball away, but thankfully they've earned the penalty. Been a bit of a fractious start, as you might expect from two teams low on confidence. Chance for Dave Ward to settle things down with this lineup.
First one to Glynn, fired into his hands, and Ward peels around the back, and Roberts. And now Sinclair, couldn't take the ball with him. Interesting little combination that though. First Roberts, then Sinclair.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the tactics for both sides. Quinn's wanting to do exactly what Luther Burrell was trying to do at the other end. Look at this, Dave Ward just times his pass perfectly. Flat pass to Roberts, and there's fewer, harder things to stop on the gain line. But unfortunately, Sinclair doesn't manage to hold on to the ball. Disappointed with that because either side has sort of spurned the opportunity to put pressure on. Look at the frustration in Mark Mappletoft.
Did that perfectly on the training pitch down in Guildford.
Well, funny you should say that, because I was chatting to Dorian West before, and he said confidence is such a difficult commodity to buy, because he said if you come and watch us train, he said we look so slick in training, but whenever we're going to match day, we don't seem to be able to transfer that onto the field, and that's why the experienced players on both sides have got to pull everyone together, almost energise you, convince you that you're a good side and be able to deliver on the pitch.
You're right, Lawrence, but I saw a lot of prop score hat-tricks on the team, bro. It's all about Saturday, isn't it? It's all about Saturday. But of course, the way you train should give you confidence going into a match day.
Crunch. Bind. Set. Mind yourself there,
Harry
Tom.
Malander. Getting used to life without his dad being his boss, but he's really knuckled down well. We're hearing he's got on with doing his job, which has been being largely exceptional over the course of this season. Top try scorer, top point scorer.
Yeah, he's
Over number 6,
wonderfully talent. You know, playing 15 at the moment. A lot of people wondering what his best position is. Is it 10? Is it 12? Is it 15?
Smith away quickly on the bounce to Visser. This is Brown for the first time. Walker speeding up to the right-hand side. Brown's going on his own, and ball was knocked on by Brown, so Malander can fire it away. Beautifully plucked out of the air by the Tyro Smith. Interesting little chip over the top. It finds grass, and that will create problems for Foden, who gathers it on the second bounce. Here goes Tuala. Burrell to his right, and Tuala goes straight through Robshaw, and he might go around Visser here, and Visser makes the tackle, and Burrell's chasing it, and if he can gather, he might score. Goodness me! They travelled miles and miles and miles, and in the end they were just a metre short of the try line.
Wonderful play from both sides, but 2-on-1s, guys. Brown had a 2-on-1 on the outside, chose to hold on to the ball and go inside. And you have to say, look at this. Why doesn't that pass go to one of the fastest players? Maybe Malander blocked the passing lane to give Brown the benefit of the doubt. Tuala had a 2-on-1 on the inside and chose not to use it.
George Merrick claiming an important line-out for Harlequins.
Don't slide
back in their own territory. Jamie Gibson trying to involve himself.
Get 7 out of there, get 7 out of there, Blondie.
Gibson's being told to get out of it now by Paul Dix again. Touch judge on this near hand side. Kerr with the clearance.
Jamie.
Hartley with the throw. It's his first one and didn't quite hit the target. And Quins will have the ball, and Kerr again with another box kick in quick succession. This one long and flat. That's Malander got in those red boots of his. He's now herring after the ball, and he battled for it with Smith.
I'm happy for play on there, Dixie. Anything else?
Yeah, play on.
Yeah, I think so.
On we go. Gibson back to Francis. Immediately had a look up to see where space might be, and he's overcooked it.
Yeah, it's a bad mistake. He puts his hand up. He knows he could have done a lot better with that. He had options either side, chose to kick and put it straight out into touch. Neither side wants to hold on to possession at the moment. They seem very happy to cough it up and give it straight back to the opposition.
Once more, Kyle Sinclair standing out amongst the backs next to Jamie Roberts. Two big battering rams, and Matt Luamanu's there as well.
Start outside. Yeah, I'll be on the way.
Luamanu looks the likeliest. Here he is. Smith.
Stay there, James. James.
Walker. Airs after this. A bit of a test here for Malander. Inside the 22, so there's work to do, and Quins have shuffled him back over the 22. Harrison, Hartley taking on James Chisholm. This is Tom Wood.
You put 3 there, he's okay. No, it's not. Leave it, Danny.
Last weekend against Exeter, and in the starting spot today. Laws. Chisholm
over the body, and he hooked it.
So careful where you put your feet. James Chisholm going through legally there.
Here's Brown. Marler. Smith running across the field, where he'll find Jamie Roberts. Wales here in the Six Nations on February the 10th. Roberts will hope to be part of their midfield that day. Here's Robshaw, who will hope to be part of England's back row.
Good effort.
Whether Danny Kerr starts at scrum half remains to be seen. Likewise Sinclair. Brown away quickly, that was nice. And this is Alofa. And now Chisholm, and now Luamanu. A couple of forwards, the furthest right. And now here's another, Marler. And once more, Sinclair on board, and he's got some toe. Oh, he's gone round Malander. A hooker has sidestepped a fullback and scored a glorious try at Twickenham.
Well, it's taken 10 minutes, but it was well worth the wait for the opening try of the match. Take a bow, Carl Sinclair, 2 wonderful bits of play. Firstly, earlier on, he takes the ball to the line, the little circle ball, and then he's the one that provides the softest of hands to put David Ward, the skipper, under the post. Beautiful hands for the prop. If you want to know how the modern game has changed for the role of the prop forward, it's having the skill and dexterity. And look at that, his director of rugby, his coach, he absolutely loves it. It's all about the skill and soft hands of Carl Sinclair.
John Kingston's celebrating like he's Alan Shearer. He's thrilled with that, and you're absolutely right. The role of the tight five, and Carl Sinclair, there's so many examples of it, not just a big ball carrier, but an assister as well.
John Kingston had done that in the days when he was playing in the front row. He'd have been buying the beers tonight. That's finable back then, Dol.
Standard stuff. This is it from Carl Sinclair. You can see the guy separated, comes to the line, Dave Ward runs off him. A really good line. There's one through getting through the hole, but then to roast the 15, Harry Mallender, in that fashion. Not only a really good touch from Carl Sinclair, a lovely finish from Dave Ward. You've got props like Carl Sinclair, ball handling like centres, and Dave Ward finishing like wingers. Really good team try.
8 starts in the front row for Ward this season. He's had 4 in the back row. He can play anywhere. He does what he likes.
Well, it's a props game now, isn't it? We saw Simon McIntyre doing exactly that for Wasps last night. Down at the wreck, little soft hands taking it to the line, and Carl Sinclair has done exactly the same to give his side the 7-point lead.
7 points because Marcus Smith with the successful conversion. Here's Chisholm. Back from his 3-week ban last Saturday, Chisholm. Now he provides a wall for Care to clear that ball away safely. There he finds Mallender. Now Harrison. Oh, he's done well to burst the tackle of Rob Shaw. Mallender once more. Happy Ratuni Uwawa. Part of Fiji's effort against Ireland in Dublin last month.
Was okay, number 1.
Broome needed to be quick, but again, Chisholm's there. He's been industrious. He's making up for lost time this season.
Yeah, Quinn's competing really hard over the ball legally as well, just putting pressure on Nick Groom.
3 is pinning 8.
Burrell. And running again after a bang to the head against Worcester. Harrison.
I've got to say, Northampton are only challenging Harlequins just in a physical fashion. They're still very tight. You can see them, not much width in the game, one-out runners, and at the moment Harlequins seem to be muscling up.
Oh, it's been intercepted by Visser, and this is Care. It was the pass from Mallender that only found the Scotsman, and now Quinn's again in full flight. Merrick took it up. Saints have done well to get those lime green shirts back in time to bung up the bottle, but Brown sidestepping his way through. Luamanu, oh, and he's done brilliantly to find Visser. If he scored that, that's majestic. Flying through the Twickenham air, and Quinns may well have a second.
I think yes, we'll check it, but I think yes.
Well, Tim Visser thinks yes, JP Doyle thinks yes.
I'm not so sure.
You had the ball available.
I'm not so sure.
It's that trading leg.
We're just looking at touch groundings. Okay, Graham, try yes or no.
Okay. Graham Hughes is the TMO.
Just had it, we saw it yesterday, Willie LaRue, that pass round the back. Tim Visser does everything right, ball in the right hand, hand off, legs in the air, but is he airborne for long enough?
And that flag is broken. Can you send the groundsman?
No. Jamie Gibson, what a wonderful cover tackle that is, because that's a definite try. Wonderful from Matt Leomanu, brilliant effort from Tim Visser, but Jamie Gibson, wonderful bit of defensive work.
He's in touch, so it's some 5-metre line out.
Jamie Gibson weighed in with no fewer than 22 tackles last weekend against Exeter. There'll be none more important today than that one.
Yeah, absolute try-saver. And what he does well is he realises the man's airborne, Tim Visser, and he manages to pull the feet down onto the touchline and save his team.
Partly to Laws as Saints try to extricate themselves from the far left-hand corner. Ratuli Uwawa. Again, it's James Chisholm. He's been prominent in these early stages.
6 hands on the ground.
Oh, and part of that hard work of Chisholm and co.
7 good turnover.
Draws the penalty. Chris Robshaw was over the ball. Tom Wood was illegal.
Yeah, he just had his hands on the ground. It's just didn't treasure the ball enough. It's always difficult when you're down in that part of the field. Marcus Smith going straight for the post, wanting to add to this Harlequins lead. They've got the bit between the teeth. It's good work from Chisholm. And look, Tom Wood just bridges over the ball with his arms the other side. 2 penalties now conceded.
Well, it's the frustration for Northampton after a wonderful try-saving tackle. You just want to clear your lines officially, get rid of the ball when they laboured on it. And they weren't accurate enough of that breakdown, which allowed Harlequins back row to come into it. Could have been 5 points, quite possibly be 3 now for Marcus Smith.
"16 minutes played at Twickenham and an energetic start from the hosts, who lead 10-0.
Yeah, Northampton need to get something on the scoreboard quick. They're a team that are lacking confidence, and they don't want to give this Quinn side too much of a head start. They'll have a mountain to climb. The coaches know that. It's really important they get the next score.
Francis again will drop it just inside the 22, and again Visser was the target. This time, Hugo, he dealt with it much better.
He did, but there's a problem there because Tawala's put so much pressure on, and Tim Visser catches it, but no protection.
That's again Chisholm. Luamanu linking up off the pass from Sinclair. Mike Brown. Sinclair once more. Thought about a few sidesteps, then decided that running straight at Dylan Hartley was not a bad option. Smith and Roberts. He's hit hard by Gibson. What a tackle that was on Visser to save the try. The deficit might be even greater than it is now. Marler once more, chugging forward.
And go, Courtney. Courtney, thank you.
Here goes Brown. Smith, oh, he sensed some room, and he's gathered the ball really nicely. Oh, and Luamanu to Visser. Mallander's there. And here goes Roberts, bursting through. They have a second score. Charlie Walker.
Yeah, just having a little check.
And the Harlequins are ripping it up at Twickenham.
Possible obstruction, gave the gap.
Okay, so how I'm ruling on that, it's a run on the inside, it's just collision.
Okay, are you happy?
So unless you something obvious and clear, I'm happy to try.
Graham Hughes has just raised a question mark over the work of George Merrick on the way to that try.
Just wondering whether there's a collision that prevents the tackle. Tim Visser, nothing wrong with the recycling of that ball.
Yeah, and it's away from the ball.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Try for Charlie Walker, halfway through the season of his life so far. He's now got 8 tries, 7 of them in the Premiership.
Yeah, some wonderful handling from Harlequins, and just like we saw last night with the sublime skills of Danny Cipriani, this time it was Marcus Smith playing the role of conductor. Saw the space in behind, beautiful chip and regather, and then instead of searching for the contact, look at this wonderful little chip and chase. He regathers the ball, and what I love about this is he then goes searching to link up, finds Luamanu, and how about that? Just a lovely show and go from Luamanu. And then Roberts on the inside, but instead of crashing, sees the speed in Walker. Really, really lovely try, and Quins are flying.
They really are. Just keeping the ball alive more than anything. For Northampton, got to start winning some collisions, and that's without the ball, because Harlequins are gaining far too much territory.
A little shallower restart this time. They managed to get their hands on the ball, but not for long, Saints. Early shades here of the way Saracens unstitched them on a warmer day at the start of the season. This is feeling very uncomfortable early on. Now, what about R.C. Tuala, however? Sinclair's chasing him down and makes the tackle. Groom herring after the ball. Kerr was there first, now Brown. Big kick between Mallander and Foden, fielded by Foden on the by Mallander on the 22. And now it's his turn to chase his own kick. And now Kerr's chance to bring it back. A wonderfully open game.
Lung busting. The ball's been in play for so long. Plenty of intent from both sides. Harlequins obviously just doing a lot more with their possession.
going to have a chat with Quins coach Nick Evans in a moment. I'm sure he'll have enjoyed what he's seen in the first quarter of this match, but just to see where this ball takes us next. Kerr directs it towards the east stand. That's gone loose. Wharton picked it up, and now Kerr again, and they're lining up on this left-hand side, and they are absolutely lining up. And this is having a walk-in, and this is turning into another Twickenham nightmare for Northampton. My goodness, they shipped 3 tries already. And Visser has the latest.
Well, it's all coming from Northampton's errors, the turnovers. You've got to credit Quins with the ruthless efficiency of their finishing. Very, very clinical indeed. But it's all too easy. They're making so many mistakes. Just can't afford to do it at this level. Look at this. The ball easily stripped by Dave Ward. Too easily, you might say. He's so good at that. And then they've got so many numbers out wide, and Marcus Smith knows exactly where the speed is. Tim Visser, one pass and a simple try.
It's 20 minutes, boys, okay?
50th game for the club. It's been quite a month for Tim Visser. Late tried to beat Saracens across the road, and he became a dad for the second time not so long ago. Son Finn, born the day before he had to fly to Belfast to be a replacement without getting on the pitch that day. Next day he went back, picked up Finn from hospital and wandered home. It's been a reasonable month for Tim Visser.
Yeah, no.
Well, he'll be able to show him that try at Twickenham when he's able to sit in front of the TV. That's one his son will be very proud of.
Marcus Smith, who's now gone beyond the 100 Premiership points this season.
Yeah, it's interesting. Dylan Hartley just asking JP Doyle whether that pass was forward, but JP Doyle said he was in line with it. He felt there was nothing wrong with it. And Quins are running away with this. There were some serious question marks before the match with this Northampton side. When Alan Gaffney touches down at Heathrow Airport, the first 22 minutes or so are going to be painful viewing.
This time back in September, Saracens led Saints 17-0. This evening it's 24-0 to a rampant Harlequins. And Visser gathers it.
Take him back in, okay?
Nick Evans, I hear, is back with us. He's had a video time shuttling the water bottles on in between all these trials. We'll try and grab a word with him in a minute. Marler again. Every time Quins get the ball, they look like doing something useful with it.
We were at the Rec last night. It's a similar start from Wasp. It was the passive nature of Bath's defence which allowed Wasp to play, and once again now with Northampton.
Oh my goodness. Now poor old Harry Malland has dropped it, and Quins will have a scrum, and we can finally have a chat with Nick Evans. We wanted to talk to you when Dave Ward scored that try, Nick, but it's been a bonkers 20 minutes. What's going on?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic start from us. You know, just concentrating on the basics. We worked a lot during the week about ruck speed. You know, working really hard on the ground and doing the basics in the contact area, and just to create that, because we know Northampton, if they give them a set defence, they're very, very strong, and they're very extremely physical. But if we can just create that very, very fast ruck speed, now under 3 seconds, around 2.5 seconds, their defensive line becomes a little bit disjointed, and I think you've seen it. We've managed to pick them off.
And it's tough for any defence, not just Saints, but when you have got that speed to really engage the ball carrier, which is what we're seeing at the moment.
Extremely, and it's an individual focus. The ball carrier's got to go in, and he's got to do the work on the ground. And you know, Newcastle had a crack at us at the ruck last week, and we're very effective at it. And so we've worked really hard this week to work hard on the ground. And I think as long as we can keep doing it, things will keep going away. But I'm sure the momentum will go back with Northampton at some stage.
Dave Ward, the hooker, sidestepping their fullback. Is that a finable offence, Nick?
Oh, no, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. He's a great little player, Dave Ward, and he loves popping up in the areas that suit him, and those little inside balls he's very, very good at.
You're a star man, Nick. Thanks for talking to us.
Well, it's interesting, actually, the details which he talks about. It's the little things, it's the simple things. You know, for all we applauded Dan Robson yesterday and Danny Cipriani. It was the likes of Joe Launchbury which put them in position to do that. And your Carl Sinklers with Dave Ward, they're setting a platform for Harlequins to be able to play with fluid rugby.
Early departure for Arsi Tuala, who's been one of Saints' standouts so far this season, and we caught a glimpse of George North, who is ready to rampage again, but a little earlier than he might have expected this evening. Welcome return for him. He's fit to go again in what is now his final season before he heads home to Wales. Knee that he injured in October is fine, and North's on, trying to stabilise a very rocky boat at the moment.
Yeah, it's not an ideal time to come on when your team are losing 24-0, but he's an absolute star quality player, and Northampton need all hands on the pumps at the moment. You can see the confidence is so low that Harry Mallender there, quality player, just drops the ball under no real pressure, turning the ball over to Harlequins. Now Quins have got a free kick. Wonder whether they might just reset the scrum, actually. Look at this, such a good player, but when your team and your confidence is low, the mistakes start to spread throughout the side. And for all Quinn's brilliance, and they look really sharp in attack, you have to say that Northampton have gifted a little bit of field position and possession on a plate.
Crouch. Bind.
I'm aware that there are lots of other 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Aviva Premiership today.
Clear fall in on you
Trying
guys.
to keep you up to speed with them, but it's been very difficult. Haven't had too much time to draw breath. We'll do what we can at the next breakdown. Let's see what Saints can conjure. My goodness, they need something and they need it fast. Groom, Francis, Burrell, North with his hands on the ball again and his feet pumping hard.
Who's your arm, Marcus?
Francis to Gibson. Might have been that much worse, but for his try-saving tackle.
George North's been on the pitch a minute, he's down on his haunches. Oh no.
Let's get a mark in case.
This could be dreadful news. He had a knee injury that's kept him out since October, and he's limping again. Meantime, this is Visser. George North doing what he can to stay with us, but that left leg looks like it's giving him a lot of pain.
Clearly, as a rugby fan, I'm gutted to see. I hope he's all right and it's something he can shake off. So much quality, just had hardly any luck at all. Smith
Off the floor, a little bit riskily, but it's the confidence that Quins are playing with now, and this will test George North's mobility. Alofa on his bike. Merritt was up in support. Brown. Robshaw did well to hold on to it. And now Robshaw again, and Kerr's calling for it. Oh, if Kerr had got it, he might well have scampered in, and Charlie Walker just couldn't bring the ball with him that was lagging behind. Brilliant from Quins, but we look to check up on George North, who seems to be walking just a little bit more comfortably. What are you pointing at, Lon?
Well, just saying, George North needing some more attention. This is where the injury happened. He get his leg just caught underneath. I mean, he actually added a lot of pace into the movement, got Northampton over the gain line, but clearly in a lot of discomfort. Just wondering, he's back on his feet.
Okay, Marcus. I can't help you with Jamal yeah, it's the same, isn't it?
Just wondering there, Harlequins could have put the bonus point to bed early on in this match. Just Danny Kerr really takes a line.
Well, Harlequins are playing with so much confidence, ability, footwork. It's clearly a team sport and they've been combining so well, but couple that with individual brilliance. For Northampton, I mean, Harlequins have marched up the pitch 60 metres and they haven't put in one decent shot yet, and that's the frustrating thing. You can't allow good sides with good ball players this amount of freedom. Danny Kerr on a really good line here. Charlie Walker almost finishes it. That would be the bonus point after 27 minutes. Harlequins playing great rugby. You can see Mark Mapletof's frustration for Northampton. Just got to be a little bit more solid.
Saints have missed very nearly 50% of the tackles they've been invited to make. They've missed 19 so far.
Yeah, and that tells its own story when you compound that with the mistakes and the turnovers that Quins have got from them. You understand why they remain pointless and why Quins are 24-0 up.
Set.
To Burrell. George North running cleanly and freely again, which is good to see. Foden did well to pick up a pass that wasn't the most sympathetic, and by the time he had, Charlie Walker was all over him.
Yeah, he's just trying too hard there, Ben Foden. He knows that he didn't receive a great pass. You just need to come back in field there and find your support. The last thing you want to do is run yourself into touch.
That's it. I mean, one phase, limited ball, and then you turn it over, all within one phase. And I guess they're trying to push things. They're desperate. The coaches are frustrated. When you keep hold of it, when you get the ball, you need to keep hold of it, especially with a 24-0 deficit.
Capesi, get out of there.
It's good to see George North back on his feet. It was, of course, that left knee that he injured. It's kept him out for some time, but
Inside 5.
he looks to be back on his feet and trying to run it off. So let's hope that's not too serious.
Okay, use it.
Run out, snaffled by Merrick, but there's no way through there. Gibson making sure that the wall stood firm. Alofa, Smith, Brown again, popping up in the line. And now Visser can chase this. Who's chasing the ball? Well, in the end, it didn't matter because the ball beat them all. Right, let's catch up on those 3 o'clock kickoffs. So not long to go in these 3. Ben Vellacott has scored his first Premiership try for Gloucester, and they lead by just a point. Couple of tries for Alex Tate for the Falcons against the Irish. And
Jamie,
Saracens, via a couple for Jackson Ray, have secured a bonus point, try-wise, but Worcester still hanging on at Allianz Park. Exeter against Leicester is our final offering tomorrow from Sandy Park, final offering of the year.
Well, again, it's an unforced error. It's an overthrow on Courtney Laws there, gifting the ball straight back to Harlequins.
Dylan Hartley's missed 2 of his 3 lineouts so far. Here goes Quinn's try-scoring hooker, Dave Ward. Smith, Visser again invited to chase after this. Malander got there first. Oh, it isn't pretty. It is not pretty.
No, you just got to take responsibility there. Harry Malander knows that. He tried to throw a pass that was a bit risky. Just gathered the ball. It was a tricky little chip or a little grubber kick in behind from Marcus Smith. Just needed to grab that one. Look at this. Just grab that, hold on to it. Get your team going forward, clear your lines.
Danny.
Is that the lift is just a little bit too late?
Well, that's certainly what Dylan Hartley might be saying, but it's 1 from 3.
Meantime, Roberts looking for Quinn's 4th. We've only played half an hour.
All onside, please.
Kerr might think about going on his own, does going on his own, scores. It is too easy. And again at Twickenham, Northampton, ugly and unstitched.
Well, as you say, it was a really, really soft try, and just saw a little sight of Tom Wood just puffing his cheeks out. He's got to gather the troops around with Dylan Hartley, because this is going horribly wrong. In fact, it's a horror show. Look at this, Danny Kerr. He can't quite believe the space that's open. The skipper falls off the tackle, but the man outside him hasn't even bothered to turn himself in. You've got to double team him there to stop him over the line. You leave Danny Kerr one-on-one with the pace he's got. Yes, Dylan Hartley goes a little bit high, but he needs a bit of help from the outside, and the eyes of the outside man are just turned out.
49th Premiership try for Quins. He's got a couple back in his Leeds days. A lot for Dylan Hartley to try and put right here.
Well, none will be easier than that one. Martina Iwara's just eyes are turned out, completely not even focused on the ball carrier.
Well, you can see it here. It's the job of Martina Iwara to focus in on the 9, especially that close. He's not looking at him. Danny Kerr goes outside Dylan Hartley, and it's just far too easy. Far too easy.
as much as we're enjoying the Harlequins riding this wave right now, also sharing Saints' pain. That's a clever restart, and here goes Laws. And Rob Horn amongst the clear-out mob. Barely spent any time at all in Quinn's 22 in the match so far. What can they do with this? Francis, Malander. Ball to the floor by Ben Glynn. Already James Horwell still missing, recovering from a knee injury. And again it's Laws. Time for the big men. The men with test quality, star quality, to stand up and do something about this. Ratuni Urawa. Francis, Malander, this is much better. Roberts coming in with a big hit. Visser too, but Saints looking for holes a little bit out wide. Here's Burrell. And Smith did well to bring him back down to earth safely and legally.
Yeah, they retained the ball really well, Northampton.
No, leave. Well done. Fully onside.
Certainly their best passage of play up to 9 phases. That's all you need to do, just exert some pressure.
Malander. Oh, it's opening up here. They've got 2 shirts free on the left-hand side. Can Malander find the last of them, who was Harrison? Needs to be cleared up by North, and...
Okay, knock on by Quins, and you played it on the ground.
Oh, just got away with that, didn't they? Northampton looked like they turned the ball over after the really promising passage of play, but Quins knock it on, and they'll be able to go again.
Speak about the restart being a set piece. Well, there it is, perfectly weighted kick from Francis. He's actually been their best attacking tools. Arsi Tuala on a few of them. This is a really good tackle from Marcus Smith. Almost takes him past horizontal. Good physical tackle, puts him on his back. But finally, Northampton have found themselves in the position. I think there's a missed opportunity here. Lines, good offload from Dylan Hartley. Gets round the corner, and then it's all a little bit of patter cake, isn't it? Losing control after a few phases. Fortunately for them, they get the ball back.
Well, I have to say, Courtney Laws has stood out for me for Northampton. It's not the first time I said this season, but if every other Northampton player played like him, they'd be going very well indeed. He's taking the game as much as he can to this Quins team.
Burrell. Some support, which he finds with Rob Horn, the Australian, played here for the Wallabies in the World Cup.
No 7, you're not.
Fiji's Ratuni Urawa. Once more finding Hartley, and that's been dropped. That's not designed to improve anybody's mood of a Northampton bent.
Yeah, it's just the wrong option there, wasn't it? He ran a good line, Hartley, but the ball needed to go in behind him. I think he'd already held the defenders. He won't be terribly impressed with that. It's just a point there. Look at this, he runs a big line. Draws in Roberts and 2 or 3 other defenders. Possibly just could have done with the ball going in behind him. It's an interesting point. You know, when you're England captain and some of your England players come into the environment, the training camp they'll have down in Brighton, you know, you want them full of confidence, you want them with their heads held high. It's very difficult just to turn that switch on, and he'll have a job to do with his captain, Dylan Hartley. Sees the funny side of it.
You need to use it, you need to use it. Use it, cannot dummy.
He's got control of this situation.
No 6, 8, leave it 8. You're lying on the body.
Chisholm
Chest
to
on the body, okay?
drive it up. And the forwards peel around to the left-hand side, and Marler wants an extra 3 or 4 metres.
It's just important that Northampton don't give Harlequins an easy out here. Danny Kerr goes to the touchline to give his side a bit of a breather.
He's about 15 years old.
Let me point you in the direction of our highlights programme later today. All the tries from the Aviva Premiership weekend that marks the start of the second half of the season. Tonight at 10:30. And as we've said, we're spending the last day of 2017 in the company of the champions tomorrow. Been some year for Exeter, and we will see it out with them as they welcome Tigers to Sandy Park, 2:30. Roberts castling Francis.
Easy. No, Jamie, just come out. Well done, no problem.
Big head collision there. It's a really good spot from Jamie Roberts. He tries to wrap the ball, and it's head on head. I tell you what, I mean, first and foremost, we hope Piers Francis is okay, and clearly they're going to take as much time
no foul play
as
in
they
that
need.
Incident. It's just a rugby incident. The player's making a legal tackle at a right height.
So I hope Piers is absolutely fine, but it looks like he's going to need a bit of attention and go off. But in terms of Northampton's injury bill, we've already seen Tawala off. George North is carrying a little bit of a knock. This isn't good.
Now, they've got Stephen Myler on the bench, so they aren't short of a high-quality replacement. He's back involved again after missing the last couple of games with a calf problem.
That's why they had to use it. Okay, but you were under no pressure.
So it went down and they kept going.
Okay, no problem.
It's Jamal Ford-Robinson, former Bristol chunk, beginning to get regular starts, and having a chat with JP Doyle. This is how it all started. This was the first of 4 Quins tries in this first half, and it was a little bit special. The big boys in the front row engineering that from Dave Ward.
Yeah, lovely hands, wasn't it, from Sinclair then. This is all about the skill and vision of Marcus Smith. Lovely little chip and regather, and then links up with Luamanu.
Your ball.
Visser then recycles the ball beautifully. And how about that, Jamie Roberts, instead of crashing over, finds Charlie Walker for a beautiful try. Danny Kerr, again, just linking up with Smith. This time he shows his Ranger skills, not the kick, but the long, flat pass to Visser, who gets over for number 3. And this is probably the softest of them all, isn't it? Show and go. Danny Kerr can't quite believe the gate's been left open. Dylan Hartley unable to complete the tackle, and that's the bonus point try for Quins, 31-0.
Stephen Myler is on to try and put some stability into this Northampton performance. They've actually just changed their defence coach. Mark Easter was looking after it up until Christmas, but as part of the changes that Alan Dickens has instituted post Jim Mallender, Phil Dowson has now been put in charge of the defence, and that's nice to see from Jamie Roberts. But a painful end to Piers Francis this afternoon, and a lot to chew on in the mind of that man as well, Phil Dowson. There's some job to plug those holes at the moment.
Yeah, he's got a bit of work to do, hasn't he? You can see Piers Francis leaving the field, of course, suffered that broken jaw. So let's hope he hasn't done anything quite as serious as that. It's a great read by Jamie Roberts, by the way. Notwithstanding the fact it was a horrible head collision, he did read it beautifully, stepped in, made the tackle.
That it's a head injury assessment, so Piers Francis might be back. I think the smart money might be on him not coming back, but we will see. Saints have used 4 different fly halves this season. Myler, Mallender, Francis, James Grayson, and now they've gone back to Stephen Myler again.
Still got possession though, haven't they? And it's a chance for them to try and get something positive going on the scoreboard.
Harrison to Groom, and then linking up with Myler. Groom again, and this is Mallender. Much sharper, but there's not a great deal of carpet to play with on that right-hand side, and before Mallender could get it away, he'd been shoved out of play.
So in the last 10 minutes, they've had 2 set-piece plays, and both of them have ended up in touch. Really good, lovely play, intricate, nice hands. But you've got to fight so hard to stay in field if you're going to loiter in those 5-metre channels. Too easy for Harlequins just to sit off, number up, make the tackle, and win the ball back.
90 seconds to half-time as Glynn.
That's one slide, it's over.
Make sure that Dave Ward has 7 from 7 line-out wise so far. for a maul that was edging forwards. Visser, airborne. Rob Short did what he could. Through the legs of Luamanu, and then Luamanu flops on it and wins it, but not cleanly.
Knock on.
However, there was a knock-on in the middle of that. And Quins will have the scrum. John Kingston came away from Newcastle last weekend with a losing bonus point. This is the middle game of a really important run of 3 for him and his team against clubs they're likely to be jostling with for league positions over the next few months. They've got Sale next week. And as we were talking about before the match, Lawrence, it's an opportunity here to look up towards the top 6 rather than fretting about the bottom 2 or 3.
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of league points available. You know, we're at the halfway point, and if Quins put a run together, there's no doubt that they can climb up the table, and that's the key, isn't it? Putting a run together. We've just seen Wasps yesterday, having lost a few of their opening games. They've won sort of 6 back-to-back, and suddenly they're up to 2nd, and it's the same with Quins. Saw Danny Kerr early in the week talking about consistency.
Boys,
we
go,
know
that
that man John Kingston's got a wonderful squad at his disposal. At their very best, they've beaten Wasps this season. They've beaten Saracens. They've got it. They've got the ability to do it. They just need to find that consistency.
Scored as many tries in this first half as his Newcastle United football team have pretty much over the first half of the season. A fact that will not thrill him. Beyond expectation for Quins, beyond awful for Saints. At half-time, a big score in the big game. Harlequins 31, Northampton nothing.
In the field. Quick word, Danny, what can Saints do? What can they do?
I think they need to put some more pressure on when Quins are exiting, make it more difficult for them to exit their own half, and when they do get the ball, there's a bit more ball retention. They've got big carriers, get them into the game and get the backs of Roving out the back of them.
And let's not forget, I said it before, they did it in round 1 when Saracens were hammering them 41-3 in the break, and they came back into that game. Let's see how they fare in the company of Hugo Lawrence and Nick Mullins.
Yeah, Northampton won the second half against Saracens, 21-14, back in September. However, they were 41-3 down before that point. And as you may well have seen, Stephen Myler has trotted back out for the start of this second half. Piers Francis has failed his head injury assessment after a big collision with Jamie Roberts, so Myler steering the ship in the second half, searching for reasons to be cheerful from a Northampton perspective. They're few and far between right now. And if Alan Gaffney was weighing up the challenge that awaits him when he arrives in the East Midlands, makes his way from Sydney, that first 40 minutes we've seen here will give him plenty to think about, Lawrence.
Yeah, he's got lots to think about. I mean, obviously, Northampton have compounded the situation by making a lot of unforced errors, 9 handling errors, but we talked about individual performances. I'm sure there's been some honest words said at half-time, because what we saw served up in that first half was simply not good enough. Quality not good enough. Talked about international players having a star next to their name. Only Courtney Laws showed anything like the hunger and desire required to play and win at the highest level. And first thing Alan Gaffney's going to have to do is Mike Brown takes this on the charge.
Here goes Brown. Quins looking for a 5th. Oof. Jamie Roberts beaten to it by Jamie Gibson.
Again, Jamie Gibson.
I was going to say, I think he can be excused from any serious criticism. He's been all over the place.
Oh, most definitely. The score could have been 36, 38-0 if it wasn't for his intervention, and once again stopped another definite try.
Foden, pressurised by Danny Kerr, and really makes no distance at all with that clearance.
Yeah, look at this take from Mike Brown, as Danny Cipriani quite rightly said. Run straight through the gap, no real kick chase. Could see exactly what Mike Brown was trying to do, just needed an extra couple of rolls on that for Jamie Roberts. But as you say, Gibson to the rescue, putting the fire out once again.
6 tackles, 2 of them try-saving. He's having an impact.
Dave Ward had the first big impact with Quinn's 4 tries in that first half. It's Wood over the top trying to slow things down. This is Merrick curving around. Smith. Oh, over the head of Mallender, into the arms of Visser. Over the try line for the 5th time. Saints hoping the second half might be a little bit better. It ain't. It's 5 and it's 36-0.
Well, whatever John Kingston's saying into the microphone there, saying into the walkie-talkie, seems to be working. It's like a knife through butter. It was all too easy for Harlequins. They just manipulate the line out, hold in the first few defenders, and how about that for a pass? A little bit risky, high risk, but certainly high reward, and Tim Visser bags his second. Marcus Smith showing us all the skills, all the boxer tricks. Mallender just misjudges it completely, the flight of the ball, and Visser helps himself.
We're hearing that Dimitri Katrakilis isn't too far away for Harlequins, having had a laser operation after that awful throat injury that he suffered. Quinn's thinking about bringing him back maybe for the final 2 weekends of Europe, certainly for the Anglo-Welsh Cup. But when Katrakilis is fit, he's not going to find it easy to wrestle the shirt off Marcus Smith.
Well, it's about the first thing Marcus Smith's done wrong all game, isn't it? Really missed that conversion, and that was only by a whisker. He's had a wonderful impact on this match. Look at this, easy little pass from Danny Kerr. Just thought the gap might have opened up for Smith himself, but he just teases the Northampton defence and finds the killer pass.
Robshaw swiftly away to Ward.
Get away, lads, get away.
Number 8, Quins, had a rolling start, was well in front of the kicker.
Oh, and that's nicely done by Foden, easing his way through.
Yes.
Luamanu was offside.
On the edge of the 22.
And that's what we're trotting all the way back for.
Number 8. Is it over here?
Replacing Ronaldo Bochner today, who hurt himself up at Kingston Park.
Look at that, only 3 penalties conceded in the entire game.
Pass back to Brown.
First one by Harlequins.
Yep.
77,825 inside Twickenham today. Wonderful effort from them, wonderful effort from Quins as a club as well to attract so many spectators to this wonderful fixture now that
outside 15
has become one of the big events in London at this time of year.
Right, now come on Saints, Courtney Laws catching the ball at the back, managed just to get it back there.
It's available, penalty advantage.
Oh, it's Quinn's hands all over it.
Collapse. Mole collapse.
Well, this will go straight back to where it started.
Quids. Yes, because it was outside 15. Sorry.
Myler.
Manage this gap for that standard.
Because it was over 15.
Go again
collapse.
with the 5-metre line out.
Chris Robshaw just marshalling the troops. Come on, Northampton, fire a shot. Let's have a look.
Hartley hoists it into the arms of Laws. Restored to the second row today. War 6 before Christmas against the Chiefs.
Ball's available.
Ball is available for Hartley, but Groom nips in. North, concern about another tweak to that left knee of his. It's got some strapping on it now. Here goes Ratuni. Wow, he'll take some stopping. Glynn did what he could, but this is a gathering storm for Northampton. Finally, as close as they've been to a score.
Offside.
And Myler, and was offside. George Merrick, that might be a yellow.
Yeah, it will be. Deliberate offside.
On the outside, so it's a yellow card.
Would have stopped to try being scored. JP Doyle not happy.
Offside.
Yellow for Chisholm.
Look at that. You can see clearly
Time off, hold him there, hold him. Right, give him a chance. If you go out of the way, I'll take time off you.
Chisholm's second yellow card in 3 games. Joe Marler. 100th Premiership start a few weeks ago. Jason Leonard was stranded on 99 starts when he finally called it a day. Old Warrior. Kerry Jones, who's a bit of a legend in these parts, called it quits after 126. But that's the kind of company that Joe Marler's in these days.
Absolutely. A real warrior. Never easy in that position, is it? No matter what they say about the changing role of the front row, they're still right up there in the coalface, and that's a wonderful effort. We've got to add a few more England caps to that as well.
Benno Urbano for company in Brighton next week. The headline inclusions in Eddie Jones' squad. Now, Gibson again, who's been one of the star performers in Saints' adversity thus far. Is there a try just around the corner for them? They've got another penalty. Groom, oh, he very nearly went through on his own. Ratuni Uwawa, a couple of big surges. He's lost it, but it went backwards.
It's definitely lost back. They'll have a look, but definitely lost back. Picked up behind.
And they think they've scored the try.
No, it's okay, it's okay. I got him. Thanks, Tony.
With him, mate.
Can you imagine if that caught me?
I wonder whether JP will have a look at this again with the TMO. He's convinced that Northampton scored a perfectly legal try. No, he's happy. No need to have a look at it.
Yeah, we're checking informally behind.
It's a definite try. Ratuni Uwawa. Ball goes backwards, gets picked up by Horn, dots it down. Good decision.
Well, it's taken 47, nearly 48 minutes, but Northampton are finally up and running.
That's fine, good.
You can see it for yourself.
Will that be the start of
it's clear.
a few more points for them? Got to take advantage while this yellow card, Chisholm's off the field.
One of Saints' star signings this season, Rob Horn. He's got them on the board finally. Now, what's next? Burrell holding on to it. Harrison trots up to clear Ward out of the debate. Quinn's line out. So Nick Groom, South African, second season after joining from the Stormers. Lee Dixon these days busy playing and coaching with Bedford. Still in the second half, despite the concession of the early try, better for Northampton. And they have a try of their own. Meant for Rob Shaw.
6v5. 6v5. Plenty of time to adjust. And
too many numbers in Northampton's lineup.
Yeah, they're not getting much right today, and didn't manage to get the numbers right. He did give them a warning. Tom Wood disagreeing. But again, it'll give Quins an opportunity. They'll probably call a scrum here, seeing as that's going very well for them.
Whose job is it to count here, Lawrence?
Well, the line-out general, which you'd have to think is either Tom Wood or Gibson.
Well, the process is Harlequins will call numbers, tell JP, who will tell Northampton, and then they've just got to be able to number up. It's as simple as that.
And just at least be seen to be dropping one out, even if he doesn't quite get back 10. But JP not happy, and Danny Kerr eagerly awaiting another opportunity. Got Charlie Walker down this short side.
Charlie Walker. Will Kerr go that way or to the left? He's going to have a look to involve Walker. And the kick, not what he would have wanted.
No, not his finest moment. Yeah, Ugo's a winger. It'd just be nice, Danny, just to give Charlie Walker a one-on-one with Foden there.
I think what he was just trying to do is just roll the ball in behind, just get a bit of territory and a bit of pressure. You can see it there. Just tuck it in behind. I would back Charlie Walker in any kind of foot race. Danny Care's overcooked it. It was just last month where he was putting in delicious grubbers against Australia. That wasn't one of them.
This time it's a Northampton line-out, and they can choose however many numbers they want in it. Burrell, and this Horn, the try scorer. Malander, now North. Held that up nicely. Well, that's been spat backwards, but it was spat backwards illegally.
Yeah, Dave Ward has done a lot of good things in this game. Just wondering, was that me?
Really stupid.
Just lost their feet at a crucial time. Probably got a stud on his fingers. Look at this, Carl Sinclair comes in. Not sure there's a lot wrong with Dave Ward. I think he penalised Sinclair initially.
Make sure you come in
It's a
there on
ruck.
top, okay?
Ruck
He's already
performed,
off,
he
you can
can't
leave
dive
him.
in there. Harlequins just got to be careful. They've got a yellow card and now a penalty. They're just allowing Northampton to come back into this game. At the moment, that
The other
yellow
guy
card's
put you
been
off,
costly for
the
them.
entry. Go, go, go!
Last 4 penalties, all of them in quick succession.
Yeah, that just shows you, in a lovely little graphic, the momentum swing. It's not really that telling on the scoreboard, but the last 4 penalties heading Harlequins having been squeaky clean in that opening quarter.
Wood took it down off that line out, and Harrison, who was standing off it, to drive up to the 22. Ratuni Wawa. Malander, Care got in the way.
Forward from number 9. Anyone else got that?
My impression was it went backwards, but we'll see what Hughes says.
Officials are questioning whether that was a deliberate knock-on, so we're going to come back for that.
Yes.
Should Saints not profit from another handy-looking position, and Harrison being smuggled like a suitcase towards the try line.
We're still on penalty advantage.
Lawes is waiting, but he's not needed. And they've got a second try, and Nick Groom has sniped his way over.
Well, it's exactly the point that Ugo was making earlier on. If you give away those penalties, it just gives that momentum shift to Northampton. Don't forget Harlequins are a man down with Chisholm in the bin. Referee JP was playing the penalty advantage, but Nick Groom took full control. Wonderful strength from Tamana Harrison. We haven't seen enough of that in this game. But Groom just seizes the opportunity and ducks under the challenge of Marler and Ward.
Thank you, guys.
You've got to commend Northampton. Talk about a response that was needed. Well, they've really made most of this yellow card opportunity. We saw it's almost carbon copy to yesterday. Wasser in control at half-time, couple of yellow cards, and then Bath came back into the game, and that's exactly what we're seeing again today.
First 5 tries in this contest were Harlequins ones. Latest 2 have been Saints ones. And the conversion again from Myler. Harlequins 36, Northampton 14.
Yeah, I mean, in a bizarre sort of way, the addition of Stephen Myler at 10. You know, he's not everyone's cup of tea or flavour of the month, maybe, but he's certainly got bags of Premiership experience and looks very comfortable linking up with Nick Groom.
5-metre line, good chance to score.
This was a penalty advantage for the knock-on from Danny Care. The referee was just going to go back for just the penalty. We've seen a lot of those in the last couple of weeks, haven't we? Marcus Watson last night, obviously Johnny May last week, red-carded. Danny Care gets away with that one.
Malander. Goes at the big welly. Over his head, well gathered by Smith. Brown was to his left, the touchline to his right. Into the arms of Malander. Foden in support. Oh, he was always toying with the touchline.
Well, it's dangerous. Harry Malander
Marcus.
just taken a couple of bad options in this game thus far. Look at that. It's just given Ben Foden nothing to work with at all, and it's another turnover. You've got to say it's sort of unforced error, really. No need to do that. Ugo mentioned they've run into touch twice from set piece. That's another one.
Marcus. Marcus, less than 2.
It's a big opportunity now at the line out with Harlequins down to 7 men in the forward pack. You can imagine that Northampton looked to put pressure.
A lot of energy from George Merrick to claim that ball in the middle of the line out. Ward, Kerr, Alofa. Roberts on the crash ball, crashing through, breaking Green Saints' walls.
7, roll out, tackler!
There again, Smith, once more, sensing space, putting Foden under a lot of pressure, and Robshaw wasn't far away from getting his toe on that. And there's still pressure, and over the ball, and it's Quinn's ball. And oh, how well Luamanu did to keep it alive. Kerr scores! In a match full of scores, what an extraordinary one.
Well, it's a mistake from Northampton, but fully exploited by Harlequins. And look at that, the trademark jump and celebration with Danny Kerr. He had a gift in the first half. Look at that, wonderful hands from Harlequins. But again, a bit of a speculative kick from Marcus Smith, but everything he does at the moment is coming off. And oh my word, Ben Foden won't want to see that again. Not only does he not deal with the kick through, he then gets isolated, turned over, and that is a late Christmas present for Danny Kerr, gift wrapped.
Kerr's second today and his 50th for the club all told.
His 50th, he's 2 behind me. I'm getting wiped off every honours board at the club in a matter of weeks.
Mike Brown finally got his 53rd try to officially make Hugo yesterday's man against Newcastle last weekend, and yeah,
it's been a bad Christmas.
Depends which side of the honours board you're looking at it from. And 2 more points for Marcus Smith, who set up the situation.
Really nice interplay. Matt Leomanu recovers the ball. A little bit of juggling there and a lovely finish from Danny Kerr. He'll get the plaudits, but I've got to say, the kick chase of Chris Robshaw, he was the only person that chased Marcus Smith's kick. That's what put him in that position. And there he is, 2 behind me. Most Premiership tries. Well done, Danny. Yeah, really pleased.
Yeah, high tackle there. Just getting a little bit fractious. Nothing intentional there. Mike Brown just ducked, which he often does to wriggle out the tackle, and just got caught a little bit high from. I think it was Wood that made the tackle. Look at that. Just that seatbelt.
Significant Saints change. The captain has been replaced around the hour mark. Mike Haywood on for Dylan Hartley, and Ben Nutley takes the place of Tamana Harrison as well. Dylan Hartley will hope for better Twickenham days in the Six Nations.
Yeah, I talked him up before the game. I was expecting a big game and a big performance, as I'm sure Eddie Jones was. And it's a big job for Eddie Jones to do now, because it will certainly open the debate as whether Dylan Hartley deserves his place in the England team, because on current form, you've got to say the performance of Jamie George last week against Leicester, the performance of Luke Cowan-Dickey against, well, certainly for Exeter in the last couple of weeks. And Dylan Hartley has had a poor game today by his very high standards, and Alan Gaffney, the first job he's going to have to do is put an arm around his captain and start getting better performances from him.
Eddie loves loyalty, and he loves the way that he leads his side. And when you talk to players within the squad, Hughes, they will talk a lot about what he brings to it.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, the players are the first person to point the finger as to why is he in the team? Why am I not playing? I don't hear that chap from the England squad. And I tell you what, they know him best. They do. Eddie is an astute guy, a very intelligent guy, and he's not really put a foot wrong over the last 2 years. And if he thinks he's his man, let's all get behind him.
Those Quinn's changes. Joe Marler's headed straight down the tunnel. Lewis Boyce, the 21-year-old, is on in his stead, and Charlie Matthews for George Merrick, the other change. Both DORs beginning to ring those changes. Temporary head coach in Alan Dickens' case. There's Lewis Boyce. he's
Same height as him, please.
still a baby prop, I guess, in propping years. He's 21, but
the same height as him.
I know John Kingston, who knows a little bit about scrummaging, really likes the way he is scrubbing up. He thinks he's long-term.
Oh, he thinks he's a proper player. He went to the same school as Danny Kerr. He's made the move down south, and he's made a huge impression. Fiery in training, loves that physical edge, and I tell you what, they've got plenty of that in the likes of his mentor in Joe Marler.
Bind. Sit.
Two front rows, Concertina up. We'll have another go.
It's a decent scrum from Northampton, putting a bit of pressure on there. There's no doubt that Eddie Jones will stick with Dylan Hartley. I don't think that's in any doubt, but what he's got to do is build his confidence up again, because what you want as an England player is to be able to walk in that training environment feeling confident, and when he's got a player who's struggling to perform at his club, he's going to have a big job in lifting his captain.
He's changed position, use the ball.
Kerr, Roberts. A dummy run from him. This is Smith, and now Brown and Visser again on his Dutch bike. Room. Rob Horn acting as emergency scrum half for Atuni Urawa. That's been lost, and Alofa. Someone who celebrated his first ever Premiership try against Northampton last season. Joe Marchant still missing for a while with his hamstring problem. Taken on by the new man Matthews. Islander trots across, pressurised by Walker. And he's now got 3 Quins all over him. If Saints recycle this ball, they'll have done well. Good positioning from Malander.
Good discipline, good discipline.
This is Wood.
Use it, please.
Miller's waiting. Should he be called upon?
Don't go forward, Mikey.
He directs it up towards halfway. Well, 2 issues perhaps for Carl Sinkley, you reckon, Hughes?
Yeah, just saw that last breakdown. He went into it and just got up holding his ankle, holding his hamstring, sorry. Makes that collision there. Looks a bit uncomfortable, but it's his... Watch him. His left hand goes to his hamstring as to suggest perhaps something's been tweaked. He seems okay at the minute. He's always a willing runner, and he's out in the back line now.
Some more changes to tell you about. Danny Kerr replaced by John O'Kitto, and Henry Cheeseman has come on for Alofa. There's John O'Kitto. There's Cheeseman.
15, Matt. Knock on in the tackle. Advantage over.
Oh, here goes Walker, waltzing through. Oh, if he could have got that ball away cleanly, then that would have been the quickest of tries for Kitto.
But who is in the passing lane once again? That man there in your shot, Jamie Gibson. I mean, it's a wonderful break from Charlie Walker. He's having a great breakthrough season. The footwork, how about this little goose step just to beat another one? Then he tries to dance in and around Ben Foden, tries to offload. Jamie Gibson. That's 3 massive moments for Northampton. He's not going to rescue the scoreline, he really won't. But he stopped it from being, instead of it being 43-14, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 certain tries he stopped there. Look at that tracking back. Wonderful work, as you say. Put in a real shift. 7 tackles, but 3 of them have saved certain tries, and you're absolutely right, Hugo. Carl Sinclair's decided, or the coaching staff have decided for him, just to rest that hamstring.
there's that change. Phil Swainston on for Carl Sinclair. It looks like George North, who was on as a replacement for Northampton, has been replaced by Cobus Reinach, the scrum half. So clearly all not 100% still with George North. We'll try and get some information on that.
Just gone around. No, there's no go forward.
North, who hurt his left knee not long after he came on as a replacement himself. Replaced Darcy Tuala in the first half, and there's Cobus Reinach, once a Shark in Durban, now a Saint in Northampton. Springbok.
Crouch! Bind!
Mike Brown, Charlie Walker down this blind side. Just look to see John O'Kitto if we ever get a Snowden scrum. This comes in and out. Well, you've got Myler and Reinach. There's Mike Brown, there's Charlie Walker. They'll fancy themselves up against Stephen Myler and Cobus Reinach. Reinach, a scrum half by trade, out on the wing, out of position. And Charlie Walker with the dancing footwork, expect to see him being put in space.
Set!
It's a good scrum from Quins, or they let it out the back door. Oh,
Tight head rolling.
tell you what. Mightily fortunate to get away with that. I think the timing of that collapse and the ball coming out the back, simultaneous.
Paul Hill.
Can't fall in underneath. You got to stay up and square.
Then bring up.
Just have a look at this, caves in. In fairness, it does happen just before the ball comes out the back. JP gets that spot on.
Don't kick out. Stay square on him.
Kieran Brooks, by the way, not playing today. He's still nursing a hand injury. And PC Ma'afu and Jamal Ford Robinson, the starting props for Saints.
Okay, that's not going anywhere. Use it, please.
Next Quinn score will be their biggest ever against Northampton, and John O'Kitto is off in search of the significant score, and they've got it anyway. And it's Matt Luamanu. It is now officially a record drubbing for Northampton at the hands of the Londoners.
Well, Harlequins are like school kids in the sweetie shop. They're filling their boots, aren't they? Can't fill their pockets with enough tries, points. It's a real opportunity to get their points difference up this game safely in the bag. John O'Kitto this time. And once you get that close to the line, Luamanu is able to literally pick up and fall over. Another soft one for Saints to concede. Got to get your body positions lower than that. Absolutely no chance of stopping Luamanu from there, Ben Nutley.
He's played his part in every game so far this season, Matt Luamanu, New Zealander. Another Premiership try to add to the tally. That Saints change in the front row, by the way, has been made. Jamal Ford Robinson off, Paul Hill on. Meantime, the metronome, Marcus the metronome, Marcus Smith, another 2 points, and they're up into the 50s.
Yeah, if you're a Quinn supporter, it's happy days. Team have looked sharp, switched on, inventive, slick with the handling, and powerful. If you're a Northampton Saints fan,
it's not good. I mean, that's the scoreline. Northampton Saints won't get to Twickenham this season, I think it's clear to say, but they won't want to. Over 100 points conceded. Over 100 points conceded in their 2 fixtures there. I don't like talking negatively about teams, but we only talk about the pictures we see, and it's just not good enough. They're standing 10th in the league. That's not good enough. The performance today, I just don't know how they fix it. It's all right talking about it, but as to the solution, well, I guess Alan Gaffney's got a massive job on his hands now.
Dave Ward, captain, has been replaced by Elia. Mike Brown, given the leadership for the final 10 minutes or so. Malander snatches it.
Yeah, it's a job Ugo made that much harder by the fact that the England contingent will be, and George North, of course, will be walking out the door and signing on for international duty.
Well, this might work out for them. And Reinach adding some pace, and Ford and Horn. Back to Reinach. Gibson waits, goes beyond him to Myler. Driven forward by Paul Hill. Still only 22, Paul Hill. Malander, and Wood was throwing himself forward to good effect, and Burrell, oh, and poor old Ben Nutley. And in a moment, their day summed up.
Yeah, when it's not going your way, even things like that don't work for you. Look at this. Opportunity came around. They found a bit of space on the edge. But even this, look, they've got a 3-on-1 potentially, or 3-on-2 at least. And they managed to butcher that as well. All they need to do is run some straight lines, pick the men off like Harlequins did in the first half. And it's a simple run-in.
But then they stay patient, they get to an edge. Luther Burrell does really well. It's a walk-in. Well, you think it's a walk-in anyway. Yeah, confidence is one of those intangibles in sport which is so important to be able to operate. And I'm not saying he dropped that ball because he's got a lack of confidence, but it's an illustration of the lack of confidence right throughout the team.
See pictures of Dave Wood. He's been outstanding today. Totally outplayed his opposite number, the England captain. Played him off the park. Absolutely instrumental in everything Quins have done. I said before the game, the captains of both sides would be crucial. I thought that the England captain would stand taller, but Dave Ward outstanding.
Here comes James Lang, 22-year-old who was the starting fly half against Saracens in the win earlier in the month. And Tim Visser makes way. The end of his 50th game for the club, a try-scoring 50th game. The end of what has been a memorable month for Tim Visser.
There's been a lot of wonderful Quins performances. Marcus Smith outstanding, pulling the strings, showing us a real box of tricks. Tim Visser finishing off with 2 tries.
18 outside the ground. 18. 18. Collapse.
Myler into touch. There's a familiar face, Luke Wallace. Talking to Dave Ward.
Yeah, Dave Ward, amazing. 7 carries, meters made. He's assisted a couple of tries. He scored one of his own. He's led his team superbly. And even with 7 minutes to go, he's our Aviva Premiership man of the match.
Again, Jamie Gibson at the centre of things. If Saints had 15 Jamie Gibsons, they'd be all right today. And it's driven them over the line. And they've got the try. One of the least heralded tries so far this season. But you take what you can get. And is it Mike Haywood getting up and taking the plaudits? And it's been the grisliest, the most gruesome of afternoons again for Saints here at headquarters, but still they go on, and Mike Haywood has just equalled Steve Thompson's club record for a hooker in the Premiership. It's his 16th, and pulling alongside Thompson now.
He's only been on the pitch a few minutes, but his contribution has been significant. He's done more in 2 minutes than Dylan Hartley managed in the entire game. Clearly showing the frustration of being left out on the bench. And that's what you want from players coming off the bench. Bit of heart, bit of pride, and you certainly get that from Haywood.
Myler. Only Charlie Hodgson and Andy Good have scored more Premiership points down the years, and there's an extra 2 for the man in his testimonial season, Stephen Myler.
Number 22, Stephen Myler. It's Harlequins 50, Northampton 21.
Six minutes.
Yeah, that's just confirmation of our Aviva Premiership man of the match. He's captained his side, been outstanding, as I said, provided a couple of tries, scored one himself. had to fight off a few rivals, but thoroughly deserved.
Ever remember giving a man of the match so early? It's very confident lot. Wait for a Saints player to score 5 tries in the last 5 minutes and snatch it. You look like a fool.
You're right. I would look like a fool, not for the first time, actually.
Now here's a very pleasing sight from a Quins perspective. And listen to the roar for the return of Luke Wallace. Had to wait for the midway point of the season for his first appearance. Horrific hip injury in a summer game against London Irish, and it's taken him this long to get back on the trek.
Heartbreaking for him. A week before the start of the season, he dislocated his hip, and he's had to work so hard. Basically, back-to-back pre-seasons. It's great to see him healthy. Great to see him back on the pitch.
Yeah, the news gets better for Harlequins, doesn't it? Such a quality player.
Okay, use it, please.
Approaching the final 5 minutes. Torture very nearly over for Northampton. But it has been a better second half. They're actually winning the second half, 21-19. Elia, 21-year-old Samoan who's taken Dave Ward's place. Kitto, here's Boyce. Helped Yorkshire Carnegie to the Championship playoff final last season. Now in the big time, in the Premiership, on the biggest of stages at Twickenham. Walker off in search of another.
Tell you what, he could have given that one. He's got a lot of pace, Walker, but he definitely had some men outside him there.
Chisholm took it in. And another meaty drive from Luamanu, who's already got 1 try. Kitto, Elia, Burrell who's not stopped either today. There have been some beacons amidst Northampton blue. Matthews. Again, Burrell working hard to do what he can to gum up the works. Luamanu.
Yeah, Jamie Roberts got absolutely clattered when he came on that short line. He's got up a bit gingerly as Quins still managed to retain possession.
Roll 18, no, roll, leave it Northampton, 18 in the way.
Matthews.
Fully outside.
Lost forwards, blockade. Knock on, blockade.
The Saints defensive scrum off the knock-on.
And a good defensive set from Northampton. A couple of line breaks. They stayed patient. They were very physical in and around the edges and forced the mistake from Leomanu. Quins would be upset that they didn't keep the composure. The game's done, but you're always searching for perfection. But a positive for Northampton, a good defensive set.
Most popular I've ever been with the Harlequins fans.
And his teammates.
It's all smiles.
It was a good decision, Noel. I was wondering at one point, having gone so early, but fair play, you got away with it.
You were sweating, weren't you? Lawrence, you've captained Ross, you captain your country. What do you say in the change room? What do you talk about Monday morning when you review this game? How do you enter 2018 to get a sense of positivity out of this Northampton side?
I think you've got to have a long, hard look in the mirror, not yourself and individually and collectively. We've all been on the back end of a few thumpings in our careers, and there's enough experience in that team just to have a look round and start having those honest conversations. It starts with yourself. When you're a captain or a player, it's about putting your own house in order first. I remember getting thumped, I think, up at Newcastle. I wrote an open letter to supporters apologising to the whole supporters for the performances, and get back to work on Monday morning and endeavour to get better and better. And that's exactly what Northampton have got to do, because there's enough quality in that squad. You look across the squad, and I include Dylan Hartley in that. He's a quality individual and player. You've just got to be honest with yourselves and say not good enough and work hard to put it right.
Oh, dear me. Jamie Roberts was almost in on that. Now, does he might have scored. He thinks he's scored. The smile on his face suggests that he has been given the biggest of presents at this time of year.
I'll tell you something, he's not a fan of halfbacks today. Huge hit on Piers Francis. His timing here, collision with Groom. I think Groom actually keeps hold of it.
Yeah, he does.
Done well, isn't he? He's done very well, Nick Groom, if he does.
We've got to talk about Jamie. You know, he's played a lot of minutes for Harlequins this season. Francis Saili, he's been on the sidelines, which has forced Jamie Roberts to have to play so many consecutive games. 9 tackles today. I thought he was outstanding against Ulster away from home. Some of the lines, some of the tackles and collisions that he's won and dominated today, it's been very good.
Yeah, Francis Saili, by the way, still making his way back from the head injury, the clattering that he took at Wasps. Feels like 100 years ago now. He's been seeing specialists. Anyway, we will have to reset that.
That's a massive advantage.
Yeah, you've got to admire Jamie Roberts just picking up on that Ugo, because Quinn's probably signed him thinking that the accumulation of international caps were behind him, really, but with the injuries that Wales have got currently in that back line and the form that he's shown in the last few games, he'll certainly be back in contention. He's looked hungry, isn't he, today, both with ball in hand and certainly defensively putting in the sort of hits that have been a trademark of his entire career.
Yeah, he's up to 97 Test caps when you include the Lions, and who knows, he might yet get 100th in the Six Nations. His form certainly demands attention. Saints penalty. It's been a tough afternoon for Alan Dickens, who is the best of men, by the way.
17, head on the ground.
One of the things that he's keen to do over the next few months is to involve the players as much as possible, to get a conversation going within the group. And there will be plenty of that over the next few weeks, particularly with Alan Gaffney installed at the Gardens.
Last play.
Seconds are up. And the whistle can't go soon enough for Northampton. Mallender hit hard by Roberts again. He's been all over the place today. All that's missing from his performance is a try. Quins have scored 7 of them. And it will be a record win against Northampton. They might yet get an 8th. Bouncing ball. What's Cobus Reinach up to? This would be something. Off he goes. Courtney Laws, his unlikely sidekick. Wallace to Walker. And now it's Quins thinking of heading out with a hurrah. No, that'll do. Quins thoroughly enjoying their big day out. The happiest of ways to say hello to a new year. Saints will be glad to see the back end of Twickenham in 2017. Final score, Harlequins.